I entitled it, actually it's here, Smarter Investing. Preparing for the future. So, I think it's timely na John started the ball rolling earlier with superannuation because for anyone living here in Australia, superannuation is a core everyone has superannuation if you're working. So, and then this one naman, ito smarter investing. I mean, it's really your choice whether you will be engaging on this one or not. Depende on you, but it's advisable because apart from okay. So apart from your super, it's also important you have some other assets outside the superannuation. So it's encouraged because otherwise sayang naman yung malaking sweldo ninyo na iubusin lang sa other material goods. So it's good to have this one. Buying box. What I will discuss here is not mainly on the specifics of how to invest on something in particular, but rather lang siguro parang your mindset, because it's very important before we commit ourselves to this one, we need to have the right mindset. Otherwise, we may get lost and baka masayang lang yung pera natin. So I'll have five main points in my discussion. So first is we need to working out your needs and your objectives. Second, understanding risk and return. And then third, get to know the investments before you commit or you invest. Third is monitor the investments, and the fifth is avoiding scams. Right? So okay, let's start with the first, working out your needs and objectives. So before you say, sige, I will be investing probably 1,000 a month with a specific investment vehicle. So it's very important that you should check if you have your number one, debts under control. Kung meron kang mga utang, make sure you can be able to service that one regularly without any difficulty. And then number two, you should have enough cash for emergencies. So say for instance, something happened, pabunod ka ng ngipin or magpaparod ka na, alam mo naman those types of things are very expensive here, no? So, or wisdom tooth. Just make sure you have sufficient cash coverage to service those. So sinasabi nila you should have at least 3 months worth of cash readily available. The higher it is, the better actually. So in line with this one, so it's also good if you will know exactly how much you are spending every month. So what me and my wife do is I am very diligent in it. Na parang I try to make sure I know where we are spending our money on, and then whether it's roughly in line with our budget for the month. So it's a bit geeky, pero it somehow helps because there's so many temptations kasi dito sa Australia, like iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus,
and
travel. So if it's not like it's the Philippines na parang isang kaya isang tukad, mostly for most of us. So like we really have to make sure tama lang yung gastos natin dito. Technically, we can afford it. We can afford it. So it's very important that you should stick to your budget, basically, and you have to know where your money is going, so that at the end of a rolling probably 3 to 6 months period, pwede mo siya ma-assess. Magkano ba yung average magkano ba yung average expense ko for the month? And say for instance, in the second month, nag-overshoot ng 1,000 in expense ko. So, saan nanggaling yung 1,000? So, you can always fine-tune your, you can always fine-tune how you're spending it. The important thing is to keep track of it. Sorry, I get sidetracked, but number 3, this already, I think, if you're working, so this one, you are already captured. You should have adequate insurance protection. So, in any unfortunate event na, God forbid, kung may mangyayari sa'yo, at least your family, they will not have any problem. So or if you're to stop working because of sickness or health, at least you still have something. Because otherwise, kung wala ka nito, and then you decide to invest, and all of a sudden something came up, you'll have no choice but to, you have no choice but to divest in your investment. And the investment sometimes means that you will sell it 1 at a loss, or 2, you will sell it before the minimum allowable time, and that would entail mga deductions. All right? Any questions? Okay. So part of this objective is you also need to develop a plan on if you want to invest. Anong gusto mong gagawin sa investment? Like you want to chug in $500 a month. Gaano katagal yun mo? What's your time frame for this one, and what will be its purpose? So think about what you want and why, and set a time frame to achieve these goals. Then you can measure all investments against your plan. So after 3 months, tatanungin mo, am I on track to achieve these plans? And these plans can either be a grand European vacation for your 10th wedding anniversary sometime 5 years from now, or a university tuition for junior, or for some of us here na mayroon ng mga anak, Dan probably, or the third one probably, para to kay Jerry. You probably would want a primary place of residence in Turak by 2020. So it's a goal, no? So I mean, it could be any goal. So yeah, just make sure that you know what you want to do after a certain time period. Otherwise, you'll get lost along the way, and then probably may investment ka nga, and then 3 years after, parang nakikita mo, I want a new iPhone. So withdraw ka sa investment mo, bili ka ng iPhone. So it's a futile exercise if it's like that. So again, have a plan, stick to your plan, execute, and you'll probably be good. Questions? I see questions in your eyes. Alright, so understand risk return as well. So I think we mentioned this one earlier, no? Like the higher, with your question on fees. So normally, the more expensive options are riskier. There are also higher returns. Normally, that's the disclaimer there. Normally,
but not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed. There's no investment that's guaranteed. So if there's an investment that is guaranteed, that's a red flag, which we'll tackle later on. So, questions sa inyo. Who has been investing here already? Who has tried some sort of investing like stocks? I guess we all know. We have some. Probably packing na lang. Alam niyo na. So, but anyway, how would you feel if your investment has gone down by 20% in a given day?
It's very shocking. That's happened to me before.
Shocking, yeah?
Sometimes it can be an opportunity.
Yeah.
Looking at it positively, that's good.
Yes, that makes sense.
I don't plan. As long as I don't plan, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, usually reassess things. Because when it keeps on dropping, reassess and as I said about diversification maybe. Because if everything is just on that fund and it keeps on dropping.
Something must be wrong.
Or just at least have a backup, like diversify, but on another one. At least I have two.
it's a mixture of shocking. Some say it's shocking. Some say it's an opportunity. Some say it's a time to assess if your investment is really correct. So yeah, it's a mixture of that one. So there are typically two sides of the coin here. If you're risk intolerant, you would be shocked. You would probably lose sleep, and would sometimes matatakot ka, and you will begin to think, I've already lost 200 out of my 1,000 initial investment. So baka tomorrow magiging 500 na to. Ayoko na. So you will sell at a loss. You lost to one. You actualize or you crystallize your loss, and wala. Ano na? When you sold kasi that means you really realize your loss.
Realize ko.
So wala na yung 200 mo, mawala na yun. Only to find out 2 months after that investment of yours doubled up. So sayang. There's also another way of looking at it. Si Jan, sabi niya, for those with probably he has a high risk appetite, no? So it would probably be a good opportunity for him to top up on his investment. So if he believes in the underlying assets, okay pa, it's just market sentiments going on. So a concrete case here is sa Philippines. The past few weeks, there has been so many talks about against the president na he's not running the country well, so investor sentiments were affected. So yun, it resulted into a drop of the investor sentiments were low. So some people took the opportunity to just sell and crystallize their gains. So the drop in market by, I don't know, more than 5%. So that's it. There are some people who are like John here, who said, I believe in the economic story of the Philippines. So bibili ako. So bumili yung mga tao do. Then when Duterte went to China, investor sentiment said, itong Chinese partnership will result into more jobs, a better buoyant economy. So what was the result? Tumaas yung merkado by probably more than 5%. The general stock market by probably around 5% in a span of 2 days. Now 5% in 2 days, that's very very big. So yeah. So it's a case of you sell at the top because you're scared, but at the same time you see some opportunity, you buy, you gain from that. From that specific scenario.
I'll just give you a scenario because when I used to be a life insurance agent with Life UK, it was my unit manager always told me, like when stocks go down, magbababa, that's the good time to buy. So she did it. So during the GFC around 2008, pero that time I wasn't connected to Life UK yet. She's been a unit manager for quite some time. So sa kanya, top up siya around 300, 400,000 pesos. And again, maganda kasi ang performance ng equity fund ng Super Life UK around sometime around 2012, 2013, 2014, from 400k kasi mura na. So, naging parang 1.5, 1.6 million yung worth na tinatap niya amount. Just a life insurance, variable life insurance, but laki talaga ng tubo, parang ganun. So, she's very, kasi yun yun na, very parang, alam niya yung control your emotion. More one.
Yeah, emotion plays a very big role if you want to invest. So there's no problem with checking your stocks or your super probably every day if you want, or every week if you want. Pero the most important thing probably be there is that don't get carried away with your emotions. some explanation why it has dropped, market sentiments, I'm fine. So, just do it.
Kasi cycle.
Yes. What goes down will also goes up.
So I have here, I hope clear, So I captured this one somewhere sa internet. So this typically is a risk return, risk profile ng mga tao. So over some time horizon. So say for instance, if you're a relaxed type of person who doesn't really get too emotional about the ups and downs of your investment, no? Normally, 1 to 3 years lang, most of the people here, 1 to 3 years, nasa cash portion na yan sila. Kasi investment, in investing, time also plays a very important role, which I will probably tackle later on. So if you have 4 to 6 years, 4 to 6 years, so if you're rational, if you're relaxed, you might probably be invested in a balanced type of investment. Or if you have more than 7 years plus, you can be exposed to a growth type of investments, meaning it's a bit risky. Sometimes it will go down in value, but that's fine. So if you're the type who's a bit half empty, half full type of person, like sometimes you're worried, sometimes you're okay. Again, 1 to 3 years, cash lang. If you have 4 to 6 years, you'll probably be invested in a conservative type of investment. Or if you have many years to invest, you'll stay in balance. Now, if you're the type who is very risk averse or risk intolerant, cash pa rin 1 to 3 years, and between 4 years and above, chances are you will not go beyond the conservative option. So, ang gusto mo dito is, I want to ensure that my capital is preserved. So I don't want to experience any instances whereby lumiliit yun ako in investment. Which is okay. There's no problem with that one. Because you don't want to lose money, diba? But you also have to take note that you may not lose money, but the real value of your money lessens. It's because of what they call inflation. So your $100 now may not be able to buy the exact amount, exact basket of goods, say in 5 years time, because of inflation. Like say for instance, your $100 now will probably buy you 75 liters of 91 gasoline. Pero in 5 years time, probably because of inflation, it will probably be probably be 50 liters worth. So preserving capital. What I'm saying is preserving capital is okay, and you also have to be wary of inflation.
They said we only have about 50 years left for petrol.
Petrol.
Yeah, that's what I heard it somewhere.
In terms of
Consumption.
like
Fossil fuel.
after 50 years,
We'll run
even
out.
like we will run out.
That's what they said around that time.
Right now, it's not exactly the case because the petrol has been very, very cheap the past few months because of the fact that they found some shale oil. Then, apart from that one, there are electric cars that are in production. The next currently in production.
Yeah, no.
So it's I can't say much about that one, but there used to be a school of thought whereby there will be peak oil will run out at some point, but it's not really that much of a problem nowadays because of shale. So anyway, I've been talking about growth, balance, conservative, and cash now. What are those? What are the underlying investments for that one? So when you say growth, usually 70 to 90% are invested in shares and properties. So this aims for high average return over a few years. So tendency is for these types of investment, minsan, ano yan siya, akyat, baba, akyat, fluctuation, market fluctuation. So it's very important you have time here. Otherwise, if you only have 1 to 2 years, you may be at the top of the cycle, babagsak siya, and then when it's time for you to sell, baka babagsak, you will be selling at a low price. So time is very important here. Balance, when you invest in balance fund, you will have 50 to 70% of your investment usually in shares and properties. So it's a bit less aggressive than a growth fund, and the rest of these are in fixed interest and cash. So again, it aims for a reasonable higher rate of return, but this usually has a lower growth than the growth fund. So the third one is conservative. So 30 to 50% lang usually are invested in stocks and properties, while the rest are invested in cash and fixed interest. So this will generally be less volatile than the two other options, but this will also mean that much lesser trading gains more potentially over a certain number of years. Then lastly, cash. This is invested term deposit, cash, fixed income instruments. So chances are this is capital preserve. You won't have you won't lose your money in nominal terms or when you look at the numbers, but you will probably lose purchasing. You will also lose because of a change in purchasing power after buying. Any questions? Good or bad? It's probably bad. Okay, so in a nutshell, what we discussed, right? There's always this saying that high risk is always tantamount to probably higher return. So the riskier you are, the probably if you want to gain a higher return, you also have to understand that sometimes your investment may lose as well. So there's a risk reward scenario here you have to look at. So number 3, before you give your money, it's very important probably for you to get to know the investments before you hand out the money. Kasi you can't just give your money because sinabi ni Kuya na okay to. You have to, it's okay that you'll be given some tips, but it's also important to have your own due diligence. So that way, at the end of the day, you won't be able to blame anyone but yourself.
Yes. Can I say something? I think sometimes it's actually not feasible in this sense because, for example, a person's looking for a business partner, right? And then this person comes along, but the thing is, once you share your business plans, the other person can easily copy it, yeah?
Probably for business, yes. That's a different scenario. Because intellectual property or business plan, that's very important if you are to maintain your competitive edge. But if we're talking about stock investments or managed fund schemes, it's probably it's probably okay to ask around or to do your due diligence. Yeah. So how do you do that one? So there are a few ways of doing that. One of it is you read articles regarding the company. So if you're investing in stocks. So say for instance, someone told you about this one is very nice. Like I remember this one very concretely. No, 2 years ago, I was able to read an article regarding, dito sa Australia, parang the cases of people having kids much later on their life, tumataas. So there's like an investment idea there. So who are the people? Who are the companies that will benefit from this one? So there are Monash IVF, Melbourne IVF. So with that one, parang it gives you an idea of this could be a potential company to invest in if you're interested in the stock market. So those ideas starts there. Like you read an article here, you ask around, you do your own due diligence, and then it's basically research. So it starts there. And of course, you need to back it with financial numbers, which can get a bit more complicated. So again,
There's a YouTube about it. I saw it before. That's how I actually started trading Asian. There's a YouTube about it and how Warren Buffett picks his stocks. You should check it out.
there's also a guy called Peter Lynch. He's it doesn't ang thesis niya is that you don't need to be a very good finance individual, finance geek in order for you to pick the correct stock investments. All you need to know is to be very observant. So in fact, one of his biggest investment was because of some observations of wife niya. So yung wife niya went to a supermarket and then she discovered na itong mga taong to bumibili ng mga sobrang interested sila for that particular pantyhose product. So of course, the wife probably mentioned that one, and then that mindset of Peter Lynch, inisip niya, what's going on here? What's going on? So it generated some investment ideas. So after that, he learned that this was the company behind that pantyhose, and then he delved more into the financials of that company, and then he compared it versus the market. He said, why don't I buy this one? So with that one, over a course of 5 years, he was able to multiply his initial investment by 15 times. So it's easy as that. And of course, Warren Buffett Peter Lynch was the one who executed the trade, but the idea did not come from him. The idea came from the wife. So the next time you find something interesting, you try to ask yourself, sino ba yung owner nito? Who's the company behind this one? So it could be the next, probably it could be the next Jollibee or whatever it is.
I think the easiest way to go about it is simple supply and demand. Because I remember when I was talking about it.
It's hard to quantify that one because you need an economic mind to have that one. You can do that one later on after you generated you satisfied the curiosity na okay. I'll have a look at this one. So if you're investing in sometimes it wasn't you who mentioned about Shell IPO or
Is it travel? No, it's not. It's a game company.
yes, of course. Was it an IPO?
They're not yet listed, but they're trying to be listed
Okay.
by December.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're some people here are interested in subscribing in an initial public offer or an IPO because of the fact that limited na yung stocks, and then it will be the first time that the stocks will be floated in the market. So in the stock market, so tendency is there's a high probability na tumataas talaga yan. Most of the time tumataas yan. So but it's not a guarantee na tataas yan. So there's no guarantee kasi sa investing. So if you're interested in an IPO, you probably would want to ask yourself, anong purpose na, why are they raising money? Why are they raising money? Bakit sila nagbibenta ng shares? Is it because they would want, the bad reason for an IPO is they're just there to pay down their debt. So it means that wala sila, hindi sila nag-iisip sa growth. The best reason probably for an IPO is they want to fund a research and development and expansion expansion probably in a specific country or whatever. That's a good reason for an IPO. Either way, it's all about understanding as well. Where's the money going to?
They want it for growth.
That's probably a good starting point. Of course, there are other metrics to quantify.
And basically, yung pinaka-reason nila why they wanted to do this for an IPO. Gusto nila may market.
That's good. If you want to raise money for growth, that's always good. That's always good. Instead of just listing because raising cash because of babayaran mo yung utang mo. That's
I'm
what
not
it
sure
is.
kung gaano ka-effective yung kasi parang yung napanood yung interview, the CEO actually of the company, parang meron siyang impression, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. So, ito yung plans ko. Parang meron siyang impression na ganun. I don't know if it's just good pagdating sa interviews or something, pero parang importante na
It's very It's very important to have credibility in the world of business. Because otherwise, if you're just if you project this impression of parang you don't know what you're doing, you're like Jon Snow who doesn't know.
Yeah.
So it's hard for you to gain credibility and probably gain cash because of that one.
I think I remember that IPO with Twitter. It was really high. Tapos, after the initial public offer, parang hindi masyadong maganda yung performance. So I don't know what happened, but then it was all live. That was the time tumakas na yung Facebook. So people were thinking, which other social media na pwede invest in that? I think it's a good time to invest social media. And then so Twitter decided to have an initial public offer. But then after the initial public offer, it didn't live up to its expectations. So it's actually, it's not yet like what you said, it's not a carrot.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Facebook, no? So Facebook, when they first did the IPO, I think it was 5 years ago. So people were dami mga Negatrons, Negastars. People were saying that saan makikita ng pera yung Facebook? Because it's just basically social media, di ba? And then they price it in such a way that medyo mahal yung IPO. Of course, the goal naman in IPO is to get the maximum amount of money for your existing investors. No? So they price it high. And true enough, after listing, yung mga negative sentiments prevailed. So it went. Facebook didn't increase. It dropped significantly after listing. But then again, we know how strong Facebook is. Who among you here has a Facebook account? Raise your hand. That well, I know one who doesn't have a Facebook account. So yun. I'm not too sure, pero right now probably Facebook is trading 4 times